the prayer some of you guys should be praying is ask God for understanding over your assignment. I want to understand, so I make sure, or I know that I am in God's will. This is where He wants me. This is what He wants me to do, and I want to make sure that all of it is for His glory. There's nothing to do with me. Every day. Hello.
Hi, everybody. Hi, friends. Hi, babe.
This is my favorite way of saying hello now. Hello. What up, y'all?
Hi.
Welcome back. Welcome back to our channel.
Welcome back. We're happy to have you back.
We're always happy to have you back. It's always a pleasure.
Yes.
It's always a wonderful time.
Yes.
And we're here. We are tired because we went out partying last night, and we partied hard.
Yeah, till the morning. It's the parents' life,
It's the parents' life. Yeah, we did not go out and party, but we did party in our living room. We were literally slow dancing to Nat King Cole, which is one of my favorite artists.
Then it got weird.
And then we just got, it was a good time, though. It was a good time. This is what we do. We love to have fun with one another.
Yes.
We thank God, because we have a joy that that we couldn't buy even if we had money to buy.
No.
So every time we get a chance, we're always silly with one another. So we had a good time. But we're here now, and once again, we welcome you, and this channel is all about encouraging one another through our testimonies, ours and other people. So we encourage you to share your testimony with us, and we'll read it in our channel so it can encourage someone else. And hopefully in the future, we can have some of you join us and share your testimony on our channel as we look to continue to do the will of God. And again, this is all about Him. And whenever He says stop, we will stop.
Yeah.
If He said to keep going, we'll keep going.
Yeah.
And we're not looking at no stats, no nothing. Whoever it's meant to bless, it will bless. That's how we see it. And we just ask God to have His way in it and continue to work through us. And as He continues to do amazing things in our lives, He's asked us to share. And that's what we're here to do. So this is Testimony and Blessings podcast.
Welcome. Again.
If you haven't already, go back and listen to the previous episodes.
Yes.
We have been on a roller coaster with the Lord, and it's been a wonderful time. Stressful at times, but definitely worth it in the end. Mm-hmm. And we're still literally going through it. So go back and listen to the previous episode. Just to recap, we were told to move. We said no.
Yeah.
We're told to move again. We moved. And last episode, we talked about once we got here, the saying of, I'll show you when we get there. We got to find out what that meant briefly, because until now, it's still going. We're still discovering what that means for us.
Yeah.
And we went through hoops and hurdles, but we stood on God's promise. He gave us a date to move, and that was March 30th. And we moved on March 30th. And when we got here, we got to see the glory of God manifest in our lives. And yeah, so it's pretty much a recap. And I think we talked a little bit in that process. Before we moved, we were talking about how it was necessary for her to transfer because we needed that income in order for to continue to get qualified and be put in a better position for the mortgage process.
Right.
And there's a few stores. We're looking at Greenville and Spartanburg because we didn't know where God wanted us to live. We know we wanted to be in Greenville because of the church, but God had other plans. And then there was a house in Spartanburg that we really liked. And then once our pastor one Sunday before we moved made a reference to that, we thought, okay, that's confirmation.
For us to
That's
get
the
that house.
house.
That's right.
Literally that same Sunday after the sermon was over, we went to check. Someone put an offer in that house.
How confusing.
So this has been literally the roller coaster. But this whole time, we thought Spartanburg was all about, the house that we wanted. Because Pastor John made that reference and we found that house. So we're like, okay, this is what God wants for us. But it was never about the house.
It was more about the location.
It was more about the location. And again, we wanted to be in Greenville because the church is in Greenville, and the Holy Spirit was like, what? You can't drive 40 minutes on Sunday to go to my house to worship me? Is that too much for you? I was like, no, God. We're literally thinking about gas, traveling, mileage, and he's like, I don't care about any of that.
Yeah.
I'm calling you guys into a season of sacrifice, and that includes everything. And then it came down to 2 stores, right? One in Greenville, one in South Carolina. And then what happened?
So I don't know if you guys remember last time I told you for my lead position, our company only allows 2 lead techs per store. Depends on the volume of the store. The one in Greenville, they had 1 tech, so they were more qualified to get another technician. The one in Spartanburg already had 2 technicians. So that's the one I, least expected, to call me back and say, oh, yeah, we'll take you. So they both were like, we're going to talk to our managers and to our supervisors, and then we'll let you know. While they're talking to their supervisor, I'm talking to my boss. All right? And then I'm like, Lord, whichever store you want me in, you'll make it happen. It doesn't matter if they already have 10 lead techs. You'll make it happen. Yeah. So when I didn't hear from the one in Greenville, I called, and then she was like, yeah, I spoke with my supervisor, but he said I can't at the moment, we don't really need another lead tech. It's like, okay. All right. Well, thank you. I mean, she was so sweet. She was just so sweet and so helpful. So I thank her, and then I was like, all right, now I need to call the other store. Even though I know, like, I prayed and give it to God, but my nerves were just like going crazy. I'm like so nervous. And then when I called, she wasn't there. She was, off. And then I was like, would you guys let her know to call me back when she's back? Didn't hear from her over the weekend, and on Monday, the following week, I called, and then so when I asked her, and she's like, yeah, we had a meeting. I talked to my supervisor, and then he said, it's okay. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, everything is fine. He gave me the okay to, have another lead tech. I was like, okay.
And we're like, are you sure? Because what about the pay?
Yeah.
Because, they had to approve that because the North and the South, it's a huge difference.
Yeah. In pay.
And we needed to keep that salary in order to still maintain that loan. And then she was like, yeah, I don't think that would be a problem. Yeah. We're like, all right. And then we got approved for that. And then we had to let the realtor know. They were very excited. So that happened. And then that kind of confirmed for us, obviously.
Yeah.
On top of the reference to Spartanburg, again, it was all about the location.
The location, yeah.
And once they accepted everything to transfer, we're like, okay, I guess we're living in Spartanburg. So fast forward, we made it here. And again, go back and listen to the last episode. We kind of went into details on the whole trip that we made in February and then moving here in March. And then there was one thing we were talking about. One of the things that the guy that we had in a cart to buy was a fridge, because the community, they didn't give fridge, they give a stove and a microwave, and that was about it. And they give a dishwasher. And the guy, we lost $10,000 in a scam. And that was when the Lord told us, I'm going to strip you of everything.
Yeah.
So he took that away. And we didn't understand, and we had to start over. We were worrying because that's the money we needed for the house. And once we got here, that $10,000 was rewarded as an incentive to pay our closing costs. So they covered it.
Yeah.
And the guy, it was like, we were telling him, and so he was like, give me a day, I'll see if I could give you a fridge. Fast forward, we did get the fridge. Now, 2 weeks, I think it was like a week and a half or 2 weeks, because I think we had like either 9 or 15 days to transfer everything to our names. And we kept trying, and it wasn't working because this is a new community. So the address wasn't registered in the system for the utilities and stuff. So we're in Roebuck, and the old address for here is considered more. But we didn't know that. We just moved here. So I walked to the office, and then I went thinking Patrick would be there to go talk to Patrick and say, we can't figure this out. What do we need? What we're supposed to do? And there was a new guy there. I was like, oh, hi, how are you? Blah blah blah. Oh, first I got there. They had a couple in there, a family that came to look at houses, and they were going through the details of paperwork and what they would need, what they offer and stuff. And I'm literally sitting in the lobby, and I'm listening, and he's listing for them what the houses come with, and I'm waiting for the fridge to be part of that list. Never came. I was like, why didn't you mention a fridge? And then it hit me. They never did give fridge up to that point, at least from our knowledge, right? And Patrick was like, let me see what I can do. And we talked about this earlier. We said everyone had an assignment and a hand to play in this process for it to happen in less than 30 days. That was divine assignment, because we didn't know any of these people.
Nope.
Not the realtors, not Patrick. It was the first time meeting them when we came to visit, and obviously when we moved, we saw them. And so after the people left, I asked the guy when he came out. He's like, "Hi, do you need help with something?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm trying to transfer a name for the utility. It's not working." And then he's trying to figure it out, so he's calling other people. And then once he figured that out, they told him about the Moore versus Roebuck. I was like, okay. And I said before I left, I was like, what happened to Patrick? He's like, Patrick got transferred. I was like, what? Like, yeah, Patrick got transferred a few weeks. I was like, oh my God. So I literally ran, because the office is not that far from me. I ran here. I'm like, babe, you would not believe what I just found out. I was like, one, a new couple are getting a house. They didn't offer them a fridge, but yet we got a fridge. And I said, also, Patrick is no longer here. They transfer him after they sold this house and when we moved here, right before we moved here. Favor. And going back to our cousin telling us to pray that prayer. What's the prayer?
Gather our helpers.
Gather our helpers. This is a prayer. We encourage you to pray the same. Always ask God to gather your helpers wherever you go. And we literally lived that, this whole process.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. He was so amazing. And he was like, yep, they moved Patrick. I was like, wow, the man was literally here to get us that fridge.
He kind of showed up out of the blue too in the whole process.
Yeah.
Like the first time we came to see the community, like he wasn't even there.
Nope.
Or when it was time to seal the deal, the next day when we came back,
he
just showed up out of the blue
with incentives after incentive.
like,
And it was planned.
Yeah.
Can you talk about a little bit? Because I remember when we moved, it was like what? Did you take 2 weeks off?
Yeah, I did take.
You took 2 weeks off because we
Yes.
wanted to settle down and
Yeah.
unpack. So before you started work, we actually went to visit your store because you had to talk to Allison, I think. Remember? And then once you started working, you find something out that was very interesting that we didn't even know about, which even put more clarity on how God worked. Literally everything was dependent on us moving on March 30th.
Yeah.
Everything.
So when I got there, when I went to the store to just speak with my manager, figure out my schedule and everything. And then she was like, I am so glad, that gonna be here now because one of my lead techs is leaving me. She's transferring because she's in nursing school, and it's gonna be a lot for her, and she's transferring to a closer to home store. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah. Now, if I waited, she would have someone else take the position because there was another girl who was rooting for the position, but she wasn't certified. So, and they would have to train her, do all these things. And she was in the process of doing her training and everything. So, me, coming in at the right time and I'm already certified and I'm, already been in the position, was like obviously a better, fit for them. And also, I think the reason why they were okay with me, coming in, it's because they already know that they were losing one tech.
Yeah.
Now, if I had waited and that other girl had already took the position, there's no way they would say yes to like 3 technician. And for the value, I mean, the store is busy, but it's not that high of a volume for them to have 3 lead techs. So, yeah. And I was like, okay.
How crazy
God
is
is on
that, though?
time. God is on time with everything.
God,
like,
bro. On time God.
He's on time with everything.
And you would have missed that position
Yeah.
if we had, one, said no, or if we had not prayed that prayer to know when to move. If we had waited to July,
Oh, yeah. Forget
you
it.
wouldn't have a
Yeah.
job.
I would have a job, but I would probably have like, it would come with a demotion,
Yeah.
because
Which wouldn't have helped
they're always looking for
techs.
technicians. Like, they're always looking for technicians, but it just wouldn't have been this location.
Also, everything would have derailed because we needed that
Exactly.
salary.
Yep.
We needed your pay to remain.
Yep.
Another two.
Yep. So it would have come with a demotion and a pay cut, because there's no way they would keep the same pay while I'm not doing the same job. So yeah.
And now I'm thinking about it. You know, sometimes in our stubbornness, right?
Yeah.
And also sometimes when we allow our flesh to dictate
Yeah.
what we do and how we do things,
Yeah.
we can literally or easily miss God on
Absolutely.
everything.
Oh yeah.
Because we had a lot of reason to not move in March.
Oh yeah. And our reasons were valid. They made sense
We were
to us.
not ready.
But we took a leap of faith and decided, okay, we're gonna trust God in this.
Well, he asked us. We either was gonna listen to God, or we were gonna listen to our own thoughts of worrisome, and it would have been a disaster.
One thing is, our ways can be good. Our ways can be good, okay? Really good. We can decide we're going to do something based on our own thinking and our own imagination, and it works out. But God's way is the best, and it's better,
Yeah.
you know? at least like when you get to a place where like you don't know what to do, you can go to the one who knows everything.
Everything.
But when it's you doing it your way, it might work out, it may not work out. But when you get to a place where you're stuck, you got to start over. You know, you might have to rethink the whole thing and start over, and it's a waste. With God, it's never a waste.
God
Even
wastes nothing.
nothing, you know, He can use even the mess that you get yourself into to like turn it into something that you weren't expecting. So
As they say.
go with God.
God takes your mess and turn it
Into
a
a
message.
message. You go with God, man.
Yeah.
And we're not just saying that. We know because
we've lived it. And I'm remembering, for some of you who might be thinking, maybe this was like easy, or it could have been, it really wasn't.
no.
And we struggle a lot, even in our faith, with experiencing everything, we still struggle in the walk. The one thing I always say about us is we were always obedient, even when we didn't understand. Because I remember, even when we came back after a visit before we moved, knowing that we put an offer, knowing that we got a date, when I told my job, I even wrote my letter of recommendation, and then I gave it, and then sort of told the area manager at the time, I'm like, yo, is it okay if because they were like, we need you to give us the letter so we can, because they won't let them process of like getting someone interviewed for a replacement until they know someone is leaving. So he's like, you need to write the letter if you know you're moving. And I was like, I am, but I just came back, put an offer. We don't know what's gonna happen. You listening to this? Now I went in with faith. Not that I didn't have faith, but somewhere in the back of my head, that little voice that was talking about, what if the offer doesn't fall through?
That little voice, you know who that is. Did God really say?
And I was
That
like, I
same
literally
voice.
told him, I said, I'm gonna give you the letter, but is it okay if it doesn't work out? Y'all listening? If it doesn't work out, could I still work until the summer until I figure something out? Because I was still like, okay, if it doesn't work out in March, we still have July. That was literally my mindset. And he was like, yeah, like no problem. But just give us the letter, and you can talk to me, let me know how things. Looking back, bro.
For you to think that the date that God gave you for some reason wouldn't work out, but we still have July, which is our own plan.
That was our own plan.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, with you, it was a little voice in your head. With me, it was an actual person. My manager was literally every single day until my last day was telling me, you'll come back. You will come back. She was like, I give you until May 1st. You will call me and you're going to say you'll move back and you need your job back.
The devil's a
The
liar.
devil's a liar.
But he'll try anything. He'll try people He'll try your family members. He'll try anyone to try to get to you and try to keep you away from your purpose.
One thing I struggle with is fitting in. When I
Yeah.
go somewhere, I always make it a point to like fit in. Or like that's one thing I worry about. How am I gonna fit in? How am I gonna, mingle and. And that's one thing she kept telling me too. You're not going to fit in with these people. It's like the enemy knows
Yeah.
what to tell you. He knows your struggle, so he's going to use that against you. She was like, you're not even going to fit in with these people. They're not going to understand you. I'm like, I'm not going to fit in. I said, I'm going to bring something. I said, I'm going to bring a new flavor.
And to be fair, we're not saying she's the enemy.
No, that's not what we're saying.
No. I just want to
But,
make that clarification because there are people
that's true.
that are not used to this type of talk.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not a believer or a
Yeah,
Christian.
that's true.
We're not saying she's, but we're saying the devil
was a
can
voice.
influence
Yeah.
somebody. It could even be your spouse sometimes to say something out of character. to get you to stay away from where you're supposed to be.
And also sometimes the person is just talking from a place of, like
It could be experience, their own
innocence, like,
experience.
or like, I don't want you to go, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna say anything to
To try
like
to keep you.
to try to keep you or make you feel like, this is the bad decision.
Yeah.
But because we know who we are, and we know for us it's not just a physical thing. There's always a spiritual, there's a spiritual world. We understand that. So we're able to separate, you know, spiritual from physical. We're able to separate people from spirit. So, yeah, but she was one voice that was like consistent.
Yeah.
But I was like,
But I thank God. I thank God. Even again, God and His sovereignty. That's a phrase that we literally keep saying every time.
yeah,
Because that that action right there of putting myself in that situation to say, if it doesn't work out, can I stay to work longer? That little doubt, that little voice, God, like anything could have happened.
oh yeah,
But He's like, nah, I know you,
yeah,
you know. And I think because we also acted in obedience and kind of went in with like, God, we're trusting you with this. We don't know what we're doing, but because you asked us to do it, we're gonna trust it. Yes, along the way we had some doubts, or along the way we fell short. Along the way we may have done things. If you guys watched the previous episode, there was me making a decision to ask my mom to co-sign when God didn't ask me to ask my mom to co-sign, but I freaked out, because the market, was up and down, and we lost, or the money we're qualified for kept going down and stuff like that. But He kept us, and I was like, and I remember once it was getting close for me to leave for that 2 weeks. At that point, I didn't even think about like going back like to work later. I was like, that's gonna be my last day,
yeah.
and then I stood on that. I stood on that.
One thing about God, He's a good father. Okay,
Yes, He
He
is.
knows us. He
That
knows our
He is.
weaknesses. He knows everything to know about us. The
Yeah.
devil will use our weakness to keep us in bondage and to destroy us, because that's what he's here to do: steal, kill, and destroy.
Yep.
So in a moment of weakness, the devil is going to use that to destroy us. But God, in a moment of weakness, He's going to show mercy and compassion, because He understands, okay, you're just in that, aspect. You're just weak. But that doesn't mean you're not following me. That doesn't mean you're not you're not being obedient to me. It's just in that particular area in your life, you're weak. There's a weakness there. And sometimes God just allow these things to happen just to show us where we are. Like, yes, we might take 10 steps of faith, and then there's that one step, and we're backing down, because it's that's where we're weak, and He's showing us that.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's all about teaching us. God likes to teach us lessons and show us where we are in our walk.
And we needed that because sometimes, and it reminds me. You're talking about that. It kind of reminds me of Peter.
Yeah.
Peter was always like the first to be like, Lord, I will die.
Listen.
I will die for you. Lord, I'm ready to die with you right now. And then Jesus was like, yo, slow your roll.
He was overprotective.
Jesus was like, slow your roll. Check yourself because you're about to deny me 3 times.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, I'd never do that. And Jesus was like, all right, we'll find out. And what happened? The rooster crowed and denied Jesus 3 times.
These things are necessary.
Yeah.
Those little moments where God is revealing to us, like where we fall short and like how we're weak. It's good, because pride can sneak up on us.
One of the biggest things we
Oh
fight.
my
We
Lord.
fight with on a daily
Oh
basis.
my God. If God just allows you to keep excelling in everything all the time,
You'd have no need for him.
ugh,
You'd have no need for him. You would think at that point you're God at this point because there's
Listen,
no
you
failure.
you'll get into your own head. You'll get into your own head, and
And
you'll
oh,
start thinking.
do we like to get into our own head?
It makes us feel good. I mean,
Arrogance, bro.
then we start looking down on other people. Like, okay, we start coughing on people. Like, psh, all right, not you talking. I'm this. I'm that. You know, but God has to keep us humble.
Keep us humble. Yeah. And
That's a good thing.
and I listen. At this point, I'm like, Lord, do what you got to do in me. Do what you got to do in me, because I'd rather, like you work in me and show me the areas that I need to work on, than for me to think that I'm good. I'm good with the Lord, and then for Him to show up and be like, I don't know you. Yo, we talk about this all the time. This is one of our biggest fear. One of our biggest fear when it says in the Bible, some will claim that I have, prophesy in your name. I've done miracles in your name. I've done this in your name. I've done that in your name. And He will literally look at you and says, I don't know you. Can you imagine, bro? You spend your whole life serving the Lord, doing the Lord's work, going to church, reading the Bible.
It's a heart thing. You gotta keep laying your heart. You gotta keep bringing your heart to the altar. Like really checking your heart every single time. No matter what you think you're doing for God, check your heart. Because otherwise, you're gonna be doing things that one He didn't ask you to do,
Yep.
and then it's gonna be for your own glory and your own, like
Ambitions and
satisfaction. Your
satisfactions.
own ambition, and then He's gonna be like, I didn't ask you to do that.
Godly ambition.
Yeah, we learn about
Tim
that.
Ross.
We learn about
Godly ambition is when you think you're doing something that God asked you to do and He didn't.
that. Yeah. That should encourage you because sometimes we're stressing ourselves out, trying to do everything for God. When He's like, I only asked you to do one thing. And sometimes, you know what that thing is? Seek my face.
Oh, we're getting to that. We're getting to that. Because I can
But I'm not gonna get
testify
over.
to that.
I'm not going to get,
I can testify
Not
to
gonna get
that.
ahead.
And to be honest, this week in particular, now that you're talking about it, and that's us being vulnerable because we promise we'll do that. This week, I asked my wife to help me pray on something. And that part of that whole, because Tim Ross came to the church last Sunday and preached a message that shook the house.
Always does.
And the whole time he was preaching, I was meditating on the word while it was being preached to me.
Yeah.
I don't really do that. And I started praying while he's preaching. I started praying in my head. So I came home and, I go through, I do my prayers and stuff like that. And I said to my wife, I said, I need you to help me pray on something this whole week. And part of it has to do with this podcast. We felt led to do this because it literally kept spoken into our spirit, the word testify, 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 testify. And I felt like the Lord told me, find a way to share your testimony and let people know what I'm doing in your lives.
Yeah.
And also encourage people to do the same. So this is how this came about. But in the process of it all, again, sometimes you're doing something and it feels like for us, we after walking with God and experiencing Him like that, we want to make sure we're in His will in everything we're doing. Mm-hmm. So I said to my wife, we need to pray to the Lord to make sure if I heard wrong or if I thought I heard something and I didn't, again, godly ambition. I don't want to do this for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if this wasn't from Him, there will be no more episodes.
Yeah. This might be the last time you see us.
Yeah, bro. This was a fun journey.
Yeah,
See you on the streets. No
Yeah.
more seeing us bro.
Yeah.
So this is literally what we're praying on this week. If this isn't from him, let us know and we'll put an end to it.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure we're in his will. We want to make sure we're doing everything that he's asked us to do. Because at the end of the day, doing this, if it's not God asking us to, this is a waste of time.
It is.
Everything that we've bought to make this happen, waste of money that
Yep.
we don't have.
Yep.
So that's us being transparent. This is literally our prayer this week. And we encourage you to do the same.
Yeah.
And ask God where I am right now in this season, whether it's in your job, whether it's in your relationship, whatever it is, ask him if you are in his will, if that's what he meant for you to do. Because if it's not, then you want to go back and say, okay, Lord, I messed up. Please show me, your will for my life.
Yeah. I agree.
Yep. And again, the last sermon Tim Ross preached, I remember he was saying the prayer some of you guys should be praying is understanding. Ask God for understanding over your assignment, and I've been praying that prayer since. I want to understand, so I make sure or I know that I am in God's will. This is where He wants me. This is what He wants me to do, and I want to make sure that all of it is for His glory. There's nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
This whole channel, this whole podcast is we want to put God in the forefront, letting people know this is what God is doing. This is what our God can do. Again, everything we've done on one thing, our mantra. God is, we're either crazy or God is real. Yeah. That's how we moved here. We were told to move, and then we were given a date, and then we lost everything. Now, literally, we were either crazy or God is real.
The whole thing didn't make sense.
But guess what?
From a human perspective.
Everything he said was going to happen. I'll show you when you get there.
Yeah.
And we got there, we started to see the things that he said he would show us. So we weren't crazy.
And the thing is with God, there might be time where like he's silent. Like he's not giving you like the big picture. Like he's never gonna tell you what the big picture is.
Never gonna tell you everything.
You will understand this season when you're in the next season.
Because this season is preparation for
the next one. So when you get to the next one, that's when this one will make sense to you. Oh. So when you're walking with God, it's a never ending blindfold walk.
Yep.
With God, because that's why it says you're walking by faith, not by sight. You cannot see. You really cannot see where it's taking you.
Yeah.
So that's why you got to focus on, okay, Lord, what do I need to do in this season? What do I need to learn? How do I need to prepare? Because you won't even know what you're preparing. Noah, start building an ark. It's gonna rain.
It never rained at that point, y'all.
But when it rained, that's when he realized, oh, okay, now it makes sense. So it's the same thing. When we get to our next season, that's when we're going to understand. Because the season that we're here now, it makes sense why God was taking all these things away and asking us to trust him. Because in this one, we needed that more than anything. Because what he asked us to give away or give up or take, or do is like, how? But he had to prepare us, from the previous season, so we could be obedient in this one. So whatever this is, we're going to understand, okay, this is why. Next season.
Next season.
Yeah. But the one thing is, he's going to always show you, like, you'll have those little moments or little glimpses, like, where God is like, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah. And he's silent doesn't mean he's absent.
No. He's just testing you, like, giving you a chance to grow in your faith.
And God's hands have been all over this whole journey. Even in the time that where we felt like he wasn't speaking. And trust me, there were times where he wasn't speaking.
I hated those times.
I mean, we're literally in one of those times right now.
Yeah, we are. We are. I I think God wants us to really know. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Yeah.
It's about what you know, who you know, like what you know about God. You know who He is, you know His character, and you believe in that. Not what you feel in the moment, not what your circumstances are, not what you're going through, not what people are saying. Like God wants you to trust Him, trust in the no. I know you, God. I
Yeah.
know you would never leave me. I know you'll never forsake me. You know, and you believe in that and you stand on that
Yeah.
because it can get rough out here.
It can get rough out here. So yeah, um, I think we're gonna cut it short today.
Yeah, today's gonna be a short one.
Today's gonna be a short one, yeah. But
And
we
if it's the
appreciate you.
last one,
If it's the
you
last one, it
know,
was
we
nice.
didn't.
It was nice having you guys hanging out with us.
Thank you for
We love you
hanging out with
guys.
us.
No, but seriously, we appreciate your time. Thank you for hanging with us. Again, if you got something out of this word of encouragement, we encourage you to share with somebody else.
Yeah.
So support our channel, share our pages, subscribe. Please subscribe to our channel so you don't miss anything. If that's not the last one, then we have plenty more to share.
Yes.
But we're definitely praying right now, so God definitely confirm what we felt like we were led to do, and we look forward to share more with you guys. So, thank you for chilling and hanging out with us.
Yes.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Bye, friends.
Peace. Hey guys, if you're watching and if you're listening to Testimony and Blessing Podcast, please subscribe, hit the notification button to make sure you never miss anything, and please share our videos to someone that you know may benefit from it. We really appreciate you. We thank you for your time. I thank you for following us. We love you. Peace.